Hi everyone, this is Dan, and often not I've kind of talked about comic book writing, especially modern comic book writing, and kind of my issues or gripes with it. And mainly it has to do with compression versus decompression. Also, generally, people kind of abandoning sort of the fundamentals of storytelling. And today I kind of wanted to do a video, hopefully it doesn't end up too long, about comparing sort of modern and older comic book writing styles. In this case, I'm going to use Allegiance Art's The Futurist, episode 1 and episode 2 combined. So that's 44 pages of story versus Marada the She-Wolf. And I'm not going to use this whole large Titan Books graphic novel version. I'm only going to use the last story, which is The Wizard's Masque, which is 38 pages. So only 38 pages here with Marada the She-Wolf, about 44 combined here with the Futurist. So let's get into it. I've kind of talked about the Futurist before. I'm not a fan. I'll just say that right out the bat. Sort of disclaimer. This will involve spoilers for both the Futurist and Marada. So if you've never read those and you don't want spoilers, you can just stop watching. But in this case, the Futurist written by Patrick Stiles and Butch Guice. Written by Patrick Stiles, art by Butch Guice. And again, I'll go over the first 7 pages are kind of an exercise in sort of bad storytelling. You're introduced to 2 characters that go over to this wizard. Again, the characters, they're named, but eventually you find out they're kind of meaningless. This character is supposedly meaningful, but you're not really explained who he is other than he might be mysterious and have magical powers. It's all kind of sort of the seance scene, and all this is really designed to get this character into the story, who is a main character. This is Harish, one of the main characters of the Futurists. But again, I don't know exactly why he's a main character, because his background isn't really well explained. It's kind of implied that he has magical capabilities, and it's said through dialogue that he's suffering some kind of curse. I don't know what that curse is. He also is coming to the old man because he needs to talk to the Oracle, which is this eyeball in a jar. But why is the Oracle an eyeball in the jar? Why is it called the Oracle? I don't know. A lot of stuff is kind of left out in the air, and it's not really explained. And the big weakness of this of this first book is a lack of what we would call caption boxes in the old days and third-person narration. A good example is like all of this, could give you good third-person narration, Who are these people, right? Does the dialogue really fully explain, or would some third-person narration and writing explain exactly what is going on here? Again, right, that just why are they going for these wizards? What is this wizard? What is he like? Who are these things, right? The other thing that is kind of interesting about Allegiance Arts, besides the lack of narration or caption boxes, excluding Bass Reeves, is also the lack of thought bubbles. There's very few thought bubbles in Allegiance Arts books. So we go to the subplot with Teddy, Lieutenant Teddy, who is the other main character of the story, and he's introduced as an officer, but it's implied that he's on this expedition for treasure hunting for money, which doesn't make a lot of sense because as an officer, he has enough money to bring his wife with him to India and enough money to put his daughter through school back in Scotland, so why would he engage in this dangerous expedition? Doesn't make a lot of sense. What also doesn't make sense is the introduction of this fire monster randomly. And honestly, the layout and panel designs here are really lacking in terms of visual storytelling. And also, the visual storytelling might work with some caption boxes or some thought bubbles, but again, as per the writing in all the Allegiance Arts books, most of the writers refuse to use thought bubbles or caption boxes to explain what's going on. So again, you just kind of have this monster fight that doesn't make a lot of sense. You're left on a cliffhanger, and when you get back to what happens, this scene is actually very confusing, by the way. Here, he's use the bayonet, and then somehow, some way, it's on this guy's side, and then it's in his gut. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but okay. What also doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't know why the artist did this, but the angles in all of these panels don't really clearly show that Teddy has lost his arm. And this is actually a big surprise in the next book. you find out that Teddy has in fact lost his arm. He's fighting for his life, and he escapes once he kind of sees his wife and takes his wife with him to run away from the soldiers. And here you have a very confusing scene where he's telling his wife, we got to run away, but he doesn't really explain to his wife what's going on. Really, he talks about Shambhala and some other things, but really what he needs to tell his wife is Quinlan, the lieutenant or the commanding officer that tried to get him killed, is a dangerous man, and it's dangerous if you stay here. Your life is in danger if you stay around this man. And that probably would be enough for a logical person or for the reader to believe his wife joining with him and running away. Instead, he leaves his wife behind, supposedly his beloved wife behind, in the hands of this piece of crap person. Which I honestly, it made me dislike this character, this entire scene. Really, really hurt me even getting into this book, or at least trying to get into this book. Believe it or not, I actually really do like Indian mythology, and this time in history in India is actually kind of fascinating. Unfortunately, this book, The Futurist, doesn't really take advantage of that. But anyhow, we move to probably the best written part of the first two books of The Futurist. This is the subplot with Hannah, who is Teddy's daughter. It's a lot of YA type of writing, but it does provide some drama and some plot movement. And more importantly, it explains who Hannah is and what drives her. In this case, she's dealing with the conflicts of being in school, a lot of the other girls knowing that she's the daughter of a traitor or a criminal, and here she resolves to go to India to find her and meet her father and understand why her father did what she did. It's actually a pretty good resolution to this subplot, and it feeds into an ongoing narrative. There are some errors, though. Most notably here, I wanted to mention, so here she's cleaning a bathroom, and then in this panel she's talking about the writing kind of infers that someone has entered the room, but honestly not a lot about this panel shows that someone has entered the room other than the discoloration of this, which could look like, I guess, drapes or something like that. This actually would be a lot better if maybe a sound effect or at least the perspective in the panel was changed, maybe the angle of the shot to kind of show maybe a foot or something. And it would make sense when we look at this panel right here showcasing a ghost. Again, why does the ghost appear? What is the purpose of this? What is the effect of this ghost appearing? I don't know. I mean, it isn't kind of shown in the writing that this ghost helps her make the resolve to go meet her father. That might just be these annoying bitches that are in this book right here. Again, the last section of the book is more of like a teaser, honestly, to a conflict up ahead. The main point of it is to showcase Teddy's new metal arm that he got. How did he get it? Why did he get it? I don't know. It's just a hook to get you to buy the next book. Like many things in this book, it's left unexplained. But I do want to mention something that has really frustrated me. I wanted to show this real quick. If you can see it in it right there, that is Zipatone. So why, and this occurs all throughout the book, and I'm not sure if this is the colorist or the editor who's doing this, but the decision, the usage of Zipatone in this book is very poor. Another great example is this last panel right here I showcased in the last one. So if you can see that, the Zipatone is breaking through different parts of the line art, and it's really distracting and annoying. All in all, I'm not really sure if I agree with the use of Zipatone in any of the Allegiance Arts books, but that might be for later episodes to talk about. But the point being with this is the Futurist is really confusing. You don't understand what's going on, and you never really have a chance to understand what's going on. The other thing is the decisions by the writers in terms of heroism of the main character is confusing. I don't even know who this character is. This character is really the only one that I understand, at least somewhat, at least her motivations, and is honestly the best character in the book. But again, your two primary characters, I have no idea what the heck is going on with them. Also, why is she a blonde in the book but a redhead in the rest of the art? I don't understand that, but anyhow, yeah, not a recommend for the Futurist, but I kind of wanted to showcase this as an example. This type of writing is so common in modern comic books that it's pretty much the norm. Pretty much everyone expects their comic book to be very decompressed and a lot of things not explained or just left out and just, deal with it. It's kind of the attitude of modern comic book writing. So let's go to Marada the She-Wolf, right? So this is the Wizard's Masque. Immediately you open the first page of the Wizard's Masque. You get a long written sort of almost poem, explaining both the setting, the premise and the character, right? And in this case, this is the sort of ongoing subplot of her getting closer and closer to Rome, which is where she escaped. You get these Captain Log narration box that not only explains, the merchant vessel, where they're at, the year and the time, but also these two characters, Marada and Ari. You get these narration boxes that is explaining sort of both Marada sleeping, in this case, the art shows you what is going on, but the narration by Chris Claremont is showing you why it's happening. Oh, by the way, forgot to explain. Marada the She-Wolf is written by Chris Claremont and art by John Bolton. Fantastic book. Highly recommend this to anyone, really. And explains why Ari can't sleep compared to Marada. Marada being the warrior and Ari being the sorceress. And here within the first 5 pages of the book, you get absolutely beautiful explanation of the setting, the motivations of the character. You get masterful use of thought bubbles here with Ari. Here she disturbed Marada's sleep, so she doesn't want to disturb her sleep, but she's deep in thought. She can't go to sleep. She's worried about many things and many issues that she's trying to deal with. How do you show that to the reader? This art only just shows a young girl thinking and contemplating and then walking up and doing something. How do you provide more depth, more beauty to this story? Well, easy, with thought bubbles. And it works very well. Not only do you understand Ari's motivation for why she does what she does in the first couple pages, but it really enriches her characters and makes you really tie with the character a lot more. You care about these characters very quickly and very easily within the first couple pages. Here you see she makes a mistake. She's a young sorceress. She summons a monster that she can't control. Marada fights off. They try to fight together, but eventually Marada is overpowered by this monster and sucked in, and here you get the first plot twist right here. Notice how in the first 5 pages, masterfully Chris Claremont, sets the setting, the characters, the premise, their situation very quickly, very effectively, gets you drawn into the story, and immediately I don't have a problem with him having Marada jump to a pirate ship and fighting in the middle of a battle right here. I don't have a problem with him introducing this character who's kind of a tease and also a comedic relief to sort of bounce off Marada's more serious personality. I don't mind this this swashbuckling adventure that they have in the city. I enjoy fully the plot twist of that same comedy character being killed off within 4 or 5 pages. Or the plot twist of her being cornered and then saved by the sorcerer. The introduction of the sorcerer being a romantic interest of Marada as well. And then the twist of the sorcerer being a servant of the Mabhara, which is Marada's enemy who is vowed to kill her and hunt her down. And then you get more plot twists of her, struggling internally about now that she's sort of being spoiled by the sorcerer, if her life would have been better as a princess rather than a warrior. Suddenly to be, ruefully awakened by this demon who attacks her, and this epic struggle for her to fight and defeat the demon. And then the revelation that the wizard is serving the Mabhara, her avowed enemy. This hilarious dialogue between the two as they sort of fight to explain their situations, only to have her sort of willfully kind of get the best of him despite his sorcery. There you just, oh man, look at the action, and there's just constant, action and flow in this book. It's really amazing for 38 pages. Here she has a mad dash to escape the city as it's being attacked by demons and spirits. She barely escapes and falls into the ocean, and having made it and not drowned, here you're seeing Chris Claremont and using the sort of the masterful storytelling technique of just hurling your protagonist into danger. You want to constantly throw your hero into more and more danger and build the suspense and build the action that you want. You want the reader to feel, you easily already feel an attachment to Marada in the first 5 pages, but through all of this actions and twists, you get, you become worried for her. You care and you wonder what's going to happen next, and is she going to make it? Is she going to win? Here she duels this sorceress, but she's Marada, she's the she-wolf. She's a great character, except she has weaknesses, right? Here you see Chris Claremont is no fan of Mary Sue characters, and Marada falls to the sword of the sorceress. And here he sacrifices her dead body to the Mabhara, and you think all is lost, and the character, that we've grown to attach to and care about in these 20 so pages is dead, only to find that he himself is quite a trickster, and he has tricked those demons. And just, you notice how I don't have to explain anything that's kind of wrong. It's just, this book is so well written that you just naturally get sucked into the story, and you get a great resolution too. Here, she gets back on the ship. Ari learns a good lesson about controlling her magical powers. She learns a lesson that ultimately she's not a princess, she's a warrior, and that's who she will always be. In addition, she's also made a new ally and a potential romantic partner, right? Unfortunately, that's all there was of Marada the She-Wolf, and I don't know if Chris Claremont or John Bolton will ever do another Marada book, but, all in all, what was my point behind all of this? In 38 pages of Marada the She-Wolf, Chris Claremont easily accomplishes, and let's be fair here, it's not just Chris Claremont. Another thing that I mentioned in my review of The Futurist is editors, right? The editor for The Futurist is the same as the writer. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't understand how that works. The editor for Marada the She-Wolf is not Chris Claremont. It is the great Mary Jo Duffy of Marvel Star Wars comics fame. One of the many great editors of that era, such as Louise Simonson and Nesenti. So you see, even though Chris Claremont is a phenomenal writer, and at this time had been very accomplished in his field, he still used an editor. How The Futurist doesn't have a separate editor, I don't know, but again, really hurts the book. I think in many ways, Chris Claremont was probably well formed by Joe Duffy when he was making this book. In 38 pages, he accomplishes so much. He very succinctly introduces you to the characters. He gives you, the reader, a chance to enjoy the story. When you buy this book, I want to enjoy this book. I want to know who this character is. Okay, why does he have a metal arm? Why is he loaded with all these guns? Who is this woman? Who is this woman? Who is this guy? Why do I care about these characters? But this character is barely introduced. And this character, he doesn't get a metal arm till way later, so why is he even dressed like this? This cover is confusing, honestly, compared to the story in the inside. And again, as a reader, you never stood a chance to really enjoy The Futurist. Whereas, as a reader, within 5 pages, you're just bawling and just having the time of your life reading Marada the She-Wolf. What matters is their conflict, their humanity. And it's shown very quickly within the first couple pages, and you just follow Marada and care about who she is. Why do I care about Harish? Why do I care about Teddy, right? This dude just left his wife, in the hands of people who try to kill him. Who would do that, right? I do care about Hannah. She loves her father, and she wants to meet her father and find out, what really happened, but is her father really that good? I don't know. I think he's kind of a piece of shit, in my opinion. And why do I care about this guy? I don't know either. But, that was, $10 that I kind of spent on this, whereas this was only a quarter of the book, admittedly for more money at $24.99, but as you can see, you can buy it used very easily and for very, very cheap. Anyhow, that's kind of the end of my rant. I just kind of wanted to showcase these as examples for modern writing versus, the classics, as I like to call them, and why I get so frustrated with modern comic books compared to what was in the past. Anyhow, that's the video. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments about The Futurist or Marada the She-Wolf, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.